y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle. I'm the owner of Damn Fancy Creations and the Drunk Flamingo. In today's tutorial, we are going to be taking it back to basics a little bit. A lot of my tutorials have multiple techniques and are maybe a little bit more complex than a beginner tumbler tutorial would be. So I like to include simpler tutorials for those of you that may just be starting out and want something simple to follow along with. So for this tutorial, we are going to be doing a vinyl wrap, some glitter stripes, a power wash technique, and then applying a decal. Everything that you see listed here will be covered in today's tutorial, including those thin pinstripes. But if you guys have any questions about techniques or products that I use, please feel free to ask below and I will come back and answer them. Before we get started, go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming tutorials. Also, be sure to check the description where I list all of the items you will need to recreate this tumbler, as well as discount codes from my favorite suppliers. All right, y'all, let's get started. Alright y'all, so we are going to start with a blank tumbler. This is a 30 ounce that I just spray painted with a flat white primer. I like to use Rust-Oleum because it dries the quickest. So I am just marking my vinyl where I need to cut it. I am just using a pencil to mark the height and the width. So those two little dots, I know you can't really see it because it's a pencil, but I just marked the height and the width, and I'm using my paper cutter to cut out my little sheet of vinyl that I'll be using. I'm taking my cup cradle from Cami Page Boutique to draw a straight line down my tumbler. If you guys don't have any tools from her, I definitely suggest to get the cup cradle. It is so handy. So I'm going to peel back my vinyl a little bit, and we're going to trim off some of the backing, and this vinyl is going to kind of act like a hinge. So that way I can line up my vinyl right along that pencil line that we drew, wrap it around, make sure everything is straight. And this one was pretty straight the first go around. Most of the time it doesn't happen like that. So I'm just using my squeegee. We are smoothing down the vinyl as the backing is being removed. And then I'm taking my heat gun and we're going to kind of fold that vinyl over that may be overlapping a little bit. I'm also going to heat the edges just to make sure everything is adhered really well. We're not going to have any air bumps or wrinkles. Next, I'm going to get my edging tool, also by Cami Page Boutique. And we're just going to edge right around that vinyl top and bottom rim. I have two cup edging tools. I keep one on the first space and one on the second space because the top rim of the tumbler, you need that blade in the first setting. The bottom of the tumbler, you need it in the second setting. So instead of switching back and forth, I just keep one on each setting. Pretty simple. So next we're going to apply our glitter stripes. So I am taking some painter's tape and I am taping it right along where our seam is. So that way when we apply the glitter, it's going to be over that vinyl seam. So we're not going to have a mismatched pattern when the cup is complete. Y'all know I always like to kind of offer tips and tricks on how I disguise my seams. So if I'm applying a glitter stripe, I just apply that stripe right over the seam. We're not cutting out little images and piecing them together today. And I'm just alternating between the masking tape and the painter's tape. They're a little bit different sizes, but I'm just using these as spacers. So I'm going to get out my glitter glue. I like to use glitter glue from Artistry. I really like glitter glue versus Mod Podge. Y'all know if you watch my tutorials that I never use Mod Podge. It dries too quickly, it does not give an even coverage, and with glitter glue, it's very similar to applying glitter with epoxy, because when I apply the glitter glue, it kind of levels out, and you get a really smooth coat of adhesive. So we are going to start with Emerald City. So the colors that I'm using are Emerald City, Mimosa 2.0, and Corpse Reviver. These are all my colors that were formerly offered on the Drunk Flamingo, but if you guys have been keeping up with my page or Brooke's page, you will now know that Brooke is the distributor of the Drunk Flamingo glitter now. I still have my site up where I'm offering pattern vinyl, decals, other print items, but as most of you know, I got my real estate license last year, and realistically, I just don't have time to keep up with glitter, vinyl restocks, and real estate. So I wanted to make sure that my glitter line went to somebody that was going to love it and take care of it as well as I would. And Brooke is obviously the perfect person for that. So all of my colors that you used to be able to find on my website, you can now find on Cami Page Boutique. So we are just keeping this cup pretty simple. I love this vinyl, so I didn't want to do a crazy pattern or a crazy template that would kind of take away from the vinyl design. So I just kept it simple, chose a couple glitter colors that would match really well with the vinyl, and just kind of bring out the colors in the vinyl, but also adding a little bit of sparkle. So once I get this last color on, I am going to wait for this glitter glue to dry completely. Then I'm going to seal this with Rust-Oleum 2 times. I like to do really light coats. That way I'm not having a reaction with the vinyl. If you spray too thick of a coat, you can have a reaction with the vinyl. Edges could curl. We don't want that to happen. So we're just going to do a couple of really thin coats of sealer. I do like to use Rust-Oleum. It's my favorite. And once the sealer is dry, we're going to put this on our turner. And we're going to put 2 coats of epoxy. The Bird of Paradise cup next to my lemon cup was the previous tutorial that I did. I will link that now if you guys want to check that one out. But once the second coat of epoxy is dry, we're going to sand it, make sure there are no glitter grains sticking up. And now we're going to pinstripe. So I selected gold pinstripe. If you guys do not know, I do have a PinStripe file on thedrunkflamingo.com. It has my most popular pinstripe sizes, which are 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. I will typically print out a full sheet of pinstripes for each color that I use. That way I have multiple different colors of pinstripes in different sizes in case I want to layer them. And I opted to go with this metallic gold, and I did not have the color vinyl that I wanted, so I went through my little nail striping tape and found almost a silvery blue, like a silver gray blue, I guess, but it really matched the light blue that was in this lemon vinyl pattern, so I thought it was perfect. So we're laying down the gold first, and we're going to trim off all of these edges with my blade. And now we are going to go in with the striping tape and lay it on top of the gold. And when working with striping tape, I just like to go slow. I kind of pull the striping tape out a little bit and then smooth it down with another finger so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And a tip, if you have problems with your pinstripes lifting under epoxy, you can always seal them with UV resin, or I have several friends that actually use UV gel nail polish. So the clear nail polish, you can just swipe a little bit on the edge of the pinstripes, cure it with your UV light, and that will help the pinstripes stay down when you go to apply your next layer of epoxy. I typically just use UV resin because I have it handy and upstairs. And I will usually just apply that with a silicone tool. So again, we're going to trim the edges off of the little nail tape. I also like to use my heat gun to make sure everything is down and adhered well. The heat just warms up that adhesive that's on the vinyl a little bit and helps it form a stronger bond to the tumbler. And after your UV resin is cured, if you do decide to go that route, you can apply another coat of epoxy. And after I epoxied again, I did do the power wash method with a metallic spray paint. I used Lucky Penny by Color Shot. The power wash method can get a little complicated, so I am just going to link a tutorial now that solely focuses on the power wash method. If you guys have already performed the power wash method, you already know how to do that, so you can skip that part. But in case the power wash method is new to you, I will link it in the video so you guys can go check that out as well. So after I have power washed my tumbler, I do not need to epoxy again. I'm just going to take this decal and apply it right on top of that spray paint. A tip if you are going to be doing the power wash method is not to do it over a heavily sanded base, because the spray paint will get in the grooves of the sandpaper or the sanding lines, and you will be able to see that under epoxy. So if you do have to sand, I do recommend spraying with a clear gloss spray or just applying another layer of epoxy. And I decided to do the power wash method with this metallic bronze spray paint because I wanted the decal to stand out a little bit from the vinyl since it was really similar. And I think that that metallic sheen just made it stand out just enough. So here are some finished pictures of this tumbler. I was really happy with how it turned out. Like I said, it's a fairly simple tumbler with a couple different techniques, but they're all still pretty simple. So if you guys are just starting out on your tumbler journey, this should be something that you should be able to master pretty easily. But as always, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out to me, either a comment on YouTube or reach out to me on Facebook. If you guys have used this vinyl, which was in April's flock box, please post it in the Drunk Flamingo. I love to see what tumblers you guys create with my designs and what kind of things inspire you. All right, y'all, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial or learned something new, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to catch the next video coming up that was picked just for you. As always, if you're looking for tips, tricks, or tutorials, be sure to check out my tutorial group on Facebook or my Drunk Flamingo group. Both are listed in the description. Thanks for watching.